Okay. Here we go, folks. We're going live tonight. We're going to talk about what happened on this election tonight. This debate tonight. And so very interested and excited to do that and give folks a few minutes to hop on here. And let's get it, folks. Let's get it. We're going on. We're on LinkedIn tonight. We are on YouTube tonight. We're on Facebook on multiple pages tonight. We got some stuff to do here, people. So come on in and join us for our group therapy session around. Thank you, son. My son is watching. He's waiting for my leg to cramp up. Those of you guys who missed it, I had a mishap a couple of weeks ago when I was on live. And I got a leg cramp, fell over, hit my the back of the wall here, and my son has literally watched the video 50 times. Hey, Aunt Brenda, how are you? Yes, Matt, he's watching for. I am not going to cramp up tonight, although I did go running. I did go biking tonight with my friend Gennaro, and so hopefully there will be no mishaps here. But yo, I took 2 pages of notes tonight, folks. 2 pages of notes. I'm going straight into the comments. We're gonna talk. Thank you, Matt. I know you have Matt's here to support. Michael Reynolds, I appreciate you being here. Yes, all right. Glenn Joseph from the Midpoint region of the church. Nice to see you. Yes, please record. Here we go. So tonight, guys, we had another interesting debate. Now, tonight's debate was a lot less wild and crazy as the last one. Folks are... Listen, you guys will stop making jokes in the comments because I'm going to concentrate and I'm going to focus on what we're going to talk about. I don't want any cramp jokes. I want no banana jokes. I don't want any, please, no jokes. Those of you guys who are not clear, I did a video about a week and a half ago and I was doing some serious political commentary. And then what happened was my leg cramped up and I fell back and hit my head on the back of the wall. And it was really very entertaining for many people. And so they're coming to be entertained. Tonight, I'm not trying to entertain you. I'm trying to educate you tonight about the seriousness of this election. So I'm going to stop this. I'm about to get it cracking, as Carla said. We're going to talk about this. I had 2 pages of notes, folks. 2 pages of notes from tonight's debate, and we're going through them all, okay? Every point, every line, let's do it. Here we go. Ronald is only here for the leg cramps. I'm done with you. Okay, here we go. So, all right. Okay, guys, first of all, let's talk about overall tone tonight. The overall tone, I guess, was better, right? Yes, there was a lot of he said in the debate. That's what you do. However, listen, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys, I know that I teach a lot of classes where I'm, sort of shooting down the middle. Tonight, we're keeping it real. I'm not sugarcoating nothing tonight. We're going to just be very real and honest and transparent. My family, my wife is making jokes. Goodbye, honey. My family, my kids were watching this stuff tonight, and they were like, what the heck is this, Dad? And my daughter says to me, Dad, I'm not taking this debate. I'm not looking at it because of your opinion. I'm looking at it because of what I see. And what I see at 14 years old, she can go, oh my goodness, this guy makes sense. This guy doesn't make sense. What do you think is happening? Now, let me just go ahead and say this, guys. It was closer to a normal debate. Now, I just wrote an article, okay? I think that our current president is an existential threat to the United States democracy. I've said that very clearly. I make no bones about that. When he makes the statement, I am the least racist person in the room, one of my friends goes, and then the camera pans the room and there's nobody in there. Who says that? Who said I've done more for African Americans than Abraham Lincoln? Who says that? It's almost like a guy who goes, oh, I have all these women and look at all these women that love me. I have all this money. Look at all this money I have. I'm so popular. I got that. Have you ever met somebody like that? Have you ever met someone that felt the need to brag about what they had, knowing that it most likely was out of insecurity? There's an author that calls it compensatory grandiosity. It's Shelby Steele, who is an author and professor, and he talks about compensatory grandiosity, that people have to compensate for their insecurity and lack of whatever they have. They end up being grandiose in their proclamations. So, folks, come on now. I mean, this is nuts, like nuts. And I'm going to tell you this very clearly, guys. I'm going to be very frank with you. You know, when you look at the amount of racist stuff that has come out of this president's mouth, let's go down the line, shall we? Okay, let's just go down the line, because to Joe Biden's point, right? And let me tell you this, by the way, I'm not like the world's biggest Joe Biden fan. Let me just keep that real right now. And I can imagine some other people who could have gotten on that stage and done some damage in a greater way. But I think Joe came through. I think Joe came through after he found his stride. After the first hour, he got a little fire and he went through. So I'm not the world's biggest Joe Biden fan, okay? I can't ignore these comments. Okay, fine. Dave Fowley says, my favorite horse's name is Charlie. No more Charlie host jokes. Carla says a fly should have been on his head. Yes. Okay. Right, we'll get there. So let's just go back to this. So what I'm saying is this, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to go down the list. The beginning of the campaign. The Mexicans and rapists line, folks. They're bringing crime. They're bringing drugs. And oh, yes, they're bringing some good people. I guess some of them are good people. Folks, that's day one. That's day one of the campaign. He told the African-American folks who were trying to protest this police brutality that they were SOBs and they should be fired. This is what he said, okay? He said in 2018 in Naval Academy speech that my ancestors tamed a continent. He says he wants to make America great again. What the heck do you think he means by that? What year do you want to go back to, folks? 1950, 1960, 1940. What year are we going to go back to make it great, folks? Think about this for a second, right? He calls Elizabeth Warren mockingly Pocahontas. I mean, he literally, as Joe Biden talked about the Central Park 5, you've not seen the documentary or the film When They See Us on Netflix, amazing film, and he basically tried to get these kids a death penalty, and they were innocent, never apologized at all for it. In the Charlottesville thing, there were good people on both sides. In the Wisconsin thing, with Jacob Blake, the guy that comes, the kid that comes and shoots, rather than talking about anything in the protest, he talks about this kid. This kid who comes to try to cause problems, and he kills two people, and he defends him. That's what he finds to defend. Guys, this ain't funny, and I'm going to tell you this very clearly, and I'm very serious about this. I don't like to make proclamations like, oh, if you support Trump, you're racist, blah, blah, blah. However, if you support Trump, maybe you're not racist yourself. Maybe you're just okay with racism. And maybe you're not okay with racism. Maybe you're okay with somebody whipping up racists because they love him. Either way, folks, we got major problems here. And so I think could not be a more clear distinction in this race. I don't care if you like his economic policies. I don't care if you like we're not even talking about that right now, guys. That would be a traditional election. That would be talking about, George Bush versus Mitt Romney versus da-da-da. We're not talking about that. We're talking about a person under whose administration white nationalist groups have grown 55%. 55%. Hate crimes have tripled in this country. Do you understand what's going on? We have a choice between going forward or going backwards. I am telling you, we could disagree on a lot of stuff, but I ain't disagreeing with anybody on racism, folks. That is out of bounds. And so if you do not stand up against this, I hate to say it, but you're probably part of the problem. No, probably to it. You are part of the problem. Now, I'm not suggesting, by the way, you can't go, oh, well, I like Trump's policies, or I like Trump's position on, abortion, or whatever it is that you might find something. I get that. However, are you willing to ignore all of this other stuff as a result to get your tax breaks? Are you serious? Folks, that's crazy. It's not right. There's one issue that has torn this country apart. One issue that has made this country have a civil war. One issue that almost destroyed this entire country is the issue of racism. And this guy peddles in it. He loves it. And I'll say this. I'm going to put a post up. I don't think Trump is individually a racist. Okay? Hear what I'm saying to you. We got to get more sophisticated. Who cares if you're individually racist? That doesn't mean anything. I don't think Trump is individually racist. I think Trump probably has some people, friends or whatever, different folks. He likes Kanye. He likes Herschel Walker. You know what I'm saying? He likes various people. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about being an institutional racist. And there is a huge difference. And to me, I think that one's worse because it kills and damages more people. We have to be sophisticated. Racism is not about whether you have a black friend or a white friend or a Latino friend or Asian friend. It's not about that. That is simplistic thinking. Racism is about institutions and what institutions have done to people. I was in a debate with somebody via email today, and they were like, oh, well, racism doesn't really kill anybody. Racism has killed people for generations, and people are dying today because of historic racism. This is an issue, folks, and we cannot stand by and let this happen. And if we don't stand up against this, then shame on us. You can't be neutral in times of crisis. It's not right. It is not right. When you were neutral in times of crisis, you were just as bad as the people who were committing crimes. What the heck do you think people were doing in Nazi Germany? They're like, oh my gosh, well, Hitler, I don't want to say anything, da 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 da. He wants to make Germany great again, by the way. But I don't want to da da da. I'm just going to be neutral. I'm going to be neutral to slavery. I'm going to be neutral to the civil rights movement. I'm going to be neutral to. Are you kidding me? You be neutral when kids are separated, 500 kids, over 500 kids separated from their parents on the border? Are you going to be neutral when you have a president that brags about sexually assaulting women? I mean, he talked over this moderator more than Joe Biden did. And I think it just comes from a spirit of, hey, I run stuff. You can't tell me what to do. It's narcissism, folks. And it's a bad leadership quality. I've been in leadership, and many of us have been in leadership. You wouldn't elect somebody to be the block club president who was this narcissistic. You wouldn't want to work for a boss like that. You wouldn't want a football coach like that. You wouldn't want any of that. So why is it okay for a person to be the president of the United States and act that way? It's not right. And we got to stand up against. Let's talk about a couple of these issues, folks. Okay, so first and foremost, let's talk about criminal justice reform. So Trump commuted 20 people. Joe Biden said that under the Obama administration, they commuted 1,000 people and released 38,000 people from federal custody. Here's what I'm saying. The 94 crime bill, by the way, which was signed on my birthday in 1994, my 18th birthday. Isn't that crazy? I found it out the other day. On September 13th, 1994, I was turning 18, and they were signing the crime bill. Ooh, that's crazy. Now, I remember the crime bill, by the way, because I was in the politics back then. And I remember the crime bill had 3 strikes you're outlaw, and it also had this issue of getting 100,000 people, 100,000 new police officers around cities. At the time in the 90s, guys, everybody, bipartisan, black, white, the Democrat, Republican, everybody was trying to figure out how to deal with this. And so it was a problem. But the thing that you learn about leaders, and I want you to understand, we are none of us are in the room with these folks, so we don't know all the ins and outs of Burisma and Joe Biden, Hunter Biden's situation, and how much money Trump got. We don't know all that stuff. We're kind of following along. Oh, well, he said this, he said that, da da da. But what you can see is you can see character. And what you can see is you can see the overall picture that's happening. And what I'm saying to you guys is that literally the attacks that were coming in this situation were about Joe Biden's son, and the other attacks were about President Trump. So you're literally going to attack me because of my kids versus me attacking you because of what you've done. There's a very clear difference as you go through. There also is a difference in character. And character can't be faked, folks. If you ain't got it, you ain't got it. It's just that simple. And it's very clear from the totality of this person's life, the totality of his life, you know who he is. Maya Angelou said, when somebody shows you who they are, you better believe them. That's what I'm talking about. I don't know. I got lost when I said. So anyway, so I'm talking about the crime bill, and the bottom line is that, Joe Biden, actually, the point about character is that Joe Biden came back on the crime bill and said I was wrong. I was wrong. That's called leadership. And I'm not the world's biggest Joe Biden fan. But when you're looking at character, right? Y'all got me sweating up in here. I'm getting like a preach up in here. I got me sweating and stuff up in here. Okay. So character Character matters. Let me hit some of these comments because y'all are like, I gotta get therapy session. I'm sorry, I'm ranting. I got more. Glad I talked about. Look, I got pages. Don't go anywhere. I got pages on. My goodness, on healthcare. We're gonna talk about healthcare in a second, folks. That's coming up in a minute. I got pages on the COVID response, the stimulus. Yes, we're talking about that, and I'm talking about some other stuff. So we're talking about the border as well. So here we go. All right, let me go ahead and just look at some of these comments real quick because you guys are blowing up the chat box here. Give me a second. Hey, everybody. Much love to all you guys. We are people all over here from Jersey and Chi-Town and all places in between. Okay, so yeah, we're the choir. You're right, Joe. You're right. Whatever. I know. I mean, Dave probably says, I'm preaching to the choir here. Yeah, but sometimes the choir got to get warmed up. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes the choir has to get inspired. You ever had a choir and all they do is sing for other people? They never get inspired themselves. So, like, this is what we're doing. So, right, if I'm preaching to the choir, that's okay. The choir got to get inspired so they can sing again. You know what I mean? You got to get your own inspiration on. Now, okay, so here we go. Let's see. Sport trying to think and brain and learn your history. It's funny. I think empathy and critical thinking are the issues that I'm talking about, folks. Empathy and critical thinking. Yes. Okay. So yes, I did hear that, Jocelyn. Someone told me that racism doesn't kill anybody today. Like they mean like people like aren't out in the streets like shooting people and stuff like that. Well, yes, they are, but you know what I'm saying. It's whatever. Okay. So neutrality does support racism. Yes, absolutely. We're gonna talk about these cages of kids. Canadian and German models regarding the number of COVID-19 coronavirus deaths suggest there should be far less deaths from the virus, below 100,000 deaths. Ted. Okay. So. Let's talk about the coronavirus for a second, shall we? Okay. What we know about this virus that came from where, according to Trump? China. Why does it say that every time? I don't know. But let's talk about the virus for a second. So the virus situation. We know that we have 220,000 people dead, right? 220,000 people. We recognize that South Korea got their first case the same time that we had, and they have responded completely differently. We know that we have over 10 times the number of cases that both Canada and the UK have. I was talking to someone the other day, and they're like, "Oh, I'm going out of the country." I was like, "You can't go out of the country. It's the COVID situation." They go, "Yeah, I can't go out of the country because the scariest place for COVID is the place I live in." And I was like, "Oh, I guess you're right. Didn't even think about it that way." As people have said before, you cannot blame the president for the virus. But you can't blame him for the response. When you think about the fact, and I'm going to talk about federalism for a second. Federalism is a division of powers between the federal, state, and local government. When you think about the COVID-19 crisis, where there has been no federal response, the crisis is going to be exacerbated. There has been no unified federal response, folks. That is the number one problem. We do not have mandatory anything, testing, mask, you name it. We've had one stimulus program from the beginning of the year, and he blames Nancy Pelosi because there's not been another one. Come on, guys. No. Leaders don't get to blame other people. They have to take responsibility for what happens and what does not happen. You all know this. This is simple, right? So when you look at because you always use these models about how there should have been more deaths, etc. Guys, by comparison, there are about 30,000 people that die by handguns every year, right? So 19,000 suicides, about 13,000 murders, and that is a public health crisis, if you will, right? This is a huge issue. A lot of people are dying by handgun violence, and yet we've had in a whole year, we've had over 200,000 people die in 7 months, guys. Because we have not had a coordinated federal response. We don't even have national standards around opening schools. We have no national standards around, I got a friend who does commercial real estate, and she was trying to figure out, well, what do we do and how do we this? There's no national anything. And the idea that he talks about, I have shut stuff down. You ain't shutting nothing down, bro, because you believe in states' rights. And you said that very clearly. So don't talk about what you shut down. The state shut it down. You didn't shut anything down. That's a lie. Nothing was shut down by the federal government. Nothing. Hear me, nothing. So that's a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. And so we have to recognize this. And I'm going to tell you that there is not a place right now for states' rights in relationship to this crisis. The federal government is the one entity that has the power to move forward. By the way, I got a lot of libertarian friends and conservative friends, which I used to be more conservative than I am now in certain ways. But the idea, you got to think about this. If the federal government has a unique role to play that nothing else can do, and even for friends on here who are not like super government people or whatever, you just got to think for 1 second. There are certain things, certain roles the federal government can play that other things cannot do, other entities cannot do. The federal government is the only entity that can stop a company from poisoning you. It's the only entity that can stop a company from selling a car that's going to blow up when you drive it. So this idea that we need less government is just stupid. Think about it for a second. If the federal government did not regulate what was sold, do you think companies would buy themselves, do right by people? And if you do, you've never looked at history, because all you got to do is look back at history and look at the meat packing industry in Chicago in the early 1900s, and look at, was it the Ford Pinto that used to blow up and people hit it in the back? All these various things, companies have done this. So the federal government has a role to play. What I'm saying about the coronavirus situation is that the federal government needs to step up and take responsibility and have a plan. By the way, I want to say this as well. The president never put forth a plan for anything. And I'm trying to be objective in that. I mean, when you think about it, there was nothing ever said. Specifically, let's talk about healthcare. President Obama was elected, 47 million people had no health insurance. 47 million people. President Obama did not create the Affordable Care Act, the Republicans did. He borrowed it. He wanted a public option. People didn't want that. We had all of these town hall meetings and stuff like that. I'm coughing and we're talking about healthcare. Isn't that ironic? Okay, I'm good. So we had literally 47 million people with no health insurance, right? So when you think about this, guys, so Obama comes in and he takes the Republican plan, right, and puts it forward. And then the Republicans hate it. And to get rid of it, but it's so funny what Trump is talking about. You got to listen, read between the lines. He goes, we're going to get rid of the individual mandate, but we're going to keep the protections on pre-existing conditions. The Obamacare plan protected people with pre-existing conditions. You cannot say that you're going to keep it and you're trying to destroy the very plan that does that. That's not true. It's a lie. We have to recognize what we're seeing. And so that is what's happening in this conversation, in this debate. The repeal and replace model for the Obamacare plan has never happened. It's been repealed, but there has been no replacement. And so we're talking about people losing their health insurance. I'm not suggesting that Obamacare is the greatest plan. Even Joe Biden does not. He wants to add a public option to the plan. Listen. Honestly, guys, I don't really care how we get there. And I think most people don't. People just want health insurance. And they don't want to have a situation where they cannot go to the doctor. In Japan, for instance, they limit the amount of money that a doctor can charge for a procedure. The federal government does that. That's how they keep their costs down. But there are lots of things that we can do. The federal government must play a role. Okay, let me hop into some of these comments again for a second. Okay, so I just going off on a tangent on healthcare. I'm about to get off of here because I go to bed, folks. But this is like, okay. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of comments. Hey, Cliff is here. All right, Cliff, I was waiting for you to come on, man. I thought we were going to do this. Okay. All right, Dave Fowley. You cannot expect empathy, kindness from a character such as this. People are still shocked it doesn't come from him. Stop. You are right. My favorite part, Michael Reynolds says, was Biden saying that Trump was afraid to release his taxes because he got money from other countries. He said he's still under audit, folks. Remember? Yeah, okay. They both blew on answering the question about the talk. Did they both blow on a question about the talk? I don't know. I kind of felt like, I don't know, maybe Joe. Listen, let me say this. Let me try to. I think Joe Biden blew it on some things. I really do, by the way. I think his response to why he hadn't done criminal justice reform at a larger level was a horrible response, right? I really, really think it was a horrible response. He goes, because we had a Republican Congress. You didn't have a Republican Congress the whole time, bro. You had Democratic Congress the first part of your term. That's why you were able to get Obamacare passed, right? But he didn't talk about the fact that him and Obama passed a piece of legislation that shrunk the sentencing between crack cocaine and powder cocaine. He didn't talk about that. Maybe he forgot about it, whatever. But they actually did do something. He did talk about 38,000 people released. He talked also about 1,000 people commuted. I think he could have answered that way better. And maybe he didn't do enough. And that's true. So I think he blew it on that. I don't know if he blew on the talk. Maybe he did. I don't know if I caught it all. There was supposed to be a mute button for the debate. There should have been a check button. You're probably right. Biden accused Trump of misplacing Mexican kids. He did. Well, there are 500 kids at the border with no parents, folks. I mean, these are real issues. But that's not but see, the policy is problematic. Don't get me wrong. But what's more problematic is the xenophobia. So what Biden says is he's going to put forth a immediate path for citizenship for 11 million undocumented immigrants, right? This is exactly the plan that George Bush put forward. I want you to understand that. So one of the best lines was, I'm not, he kept talking about AOC and Bernie Sanders and blah, blah, blah. And Joe Biden said, I'm running. Joe Biden is actually somewhat conservative, folks. Joe Biden is probably the same candidate as George Bush probably 10, 15 years ago. So, whatever. We have to recognize that also as well. Okay. Whoa, somebody said they work for Stroger Hospital. They haven't required them to get tested. How do you work in a hospital? They haven't required you to get COVID tested. That's crazy, but she's talking the truth. Janisha says this, and she says that because what the truth is that there's no federal policy around this stuff. People can do what they want to do. Okay, I'm sorry. Cliff, I'm concerned. I still expect the government to set a standard for response to a national health issue. Thank you, Cliff. That's all I'm saying, bro. The government should still set a standard for a national response to a health issue. Okay, you can be conservative and still believe that. Duh. All right, get some water. I probably would. That was a couple minutes ago. Okay. All right, let me just fast forward because Biden did the best he could about the talk. It's kind of hard if you don't live it. That's a good point. I've not been required to be tested, and I'm a first responder. Guys, come on now. I do need something strong in the water, Dave, but no. No. Okay. Gosh, man. Post office was to give face mask, and he stopped it. Wow. Okay, let me go through some more memorable quotes from tonight. Why would there be when American people aren't a priority? Very good point, Kyla. Okay, and so blaming. Yeah, okay, so here we go. They would hate to pay us off if it were positive and nobody's enforcing it. That's the truth, guys. I mean, that's nuts. This is why, okay, think about this. Like, my kids aren't in school right now, but their school is open. I'm not sending them. Why? Because you gotta understand the tragedy of this time, and this is heartbreaking. Is that people have to choose between making a living and living. Because with the lack of support, right? Even in the city of Chicago, we got this new thing where the businesses have to be closed at a certain time and that sort of thing, which makes total sense. But if we're not supporting these businesses who are losing money, then people are going to take those economic pressures and they're going to go do stuff that's unsafe for people's health. That's what gets me. I'm not saying the government's got to take over everything all the time, but I am saying, once again, during times of crises, we don't have time for libertarian thought. We need help. Trump pretty much stated that he's literally the president of select members of the United States. Oh, what about I'm the least racist? Oh, we talked about the least racist comment already. The talk, man. Come on, let's just be real. Trump, Pence said he doesn't believe in institutional racism, folks. Of course, he don't care about the talk. North Korea. Oh, let's talk about North Korea. This is a good one here. So, Kim Jong-un in North Korea. So, Trump goes, we're friendly with North Korea, this and that. And he goes, oh, wow, Obama wasn't friendly with North Korea, da-da-da. And then I thought Biden had a pretty good response to this. He goes, yeah, that's because Obama was basically holding the line on nuclear proliferation and really holding Kim Jong-un's feet to the fire on this question and not compromising around whether they had nuclear weapons. So Kim Jong-un didn't like him. It's not a sophisticated question, guys. My gosh, man, I get upset. Why can't we just eliminate government intrusion in our lives? Keep playing a system that's failed and look to the Virginia super fail. I mean, I hear you, but limit government intrusion in our lives. What does that mean? Does it mean we limit the FDA? Does it mean we limit the EPA? Does it mean we limit the FCC? I don't know about you. I don't feel like the government's all intruding in my life all the time. I have freedom. I just don't. I don't know. I don't buy the idea the government doesn't have a role to play. It has a role to play. Maybe there are some places where it steps too far, but for the most part, folks, we live in a free society, and the government fulfills roles that our unfortunately society has failed in. Prepaid taxes. What is that? I don't know what. Oh, gotcha. Maybe. Oh, the government intrusion. Got it. Yeah. Well, I guess that is right. The refund situation. That is an intrusion. You're right. You got me, brother. Brother attorney Brandon Loggins. You got me on that one. You're right. That is a intrusion that we basically. I'm thinking that's what you're saying. That we're paying our taxes and then we go back and try to get our refund. That kind of thing. So anyway, maybe that's what you're talking about. Okay. Oh, Trump said he prepaid. Okay, got you. Yeah. What about Trump's taxes, folks? What the heck? I'm still under audit. It's been 4 years, dude. You think we're that dumb? Are we really that dumb? 60 million people might be. 62 million to be exact. 65 million voted for Hillary, about 62 million voted for him. I know people are upset. I do. Again, I understand people get frustrated. That's why they voted for him. But guys, come on. Right? Come on. We have to be better than this. Joe Biden may be a means to an end. And maybe his son was corrupt, right? Let's go through this whole conversation with Russia and stuff like that. Maybe his son was corrupt. Right? Is his son potentially being corrupt in Russia? Potentially. Not proven. Does that outweigh everything we're talking about, President Trump? You know, the Trump administration charged the RNC to use meeting rooms in his hotel. And he raised the price by 4 times when they came while he was running for president. I mean, that's verifiable, folks. Talking about your corruption versus somebody else's kid's corruption, potentially. I mean, come on. Anyway, okay, we got to pick our poison. I'm conservative, and I'll even admit that an unregulated. Come on, Cliff. You know what? Let me tell you something. Cliff is conservative, and he says unregulated free market doesn't work. Cliff, that's all I'm saying, bro. I'm not some bona fide full 1,000%, left person. But why would you want to remove the government from the free market? You need the government to play referee, or these companies will kill you. Period. Point blank in the discussion. David Fallon said, who cares about either of their sons? They're not the 2 old white men that want the job. Yeah. My son goes, literally, he goes, Dad, why are they so old? Why are all the candidates for president so old? I was like, well, this is not normally how it happens, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Hey, who would you guys like to have seen debate Trump tonight besides Joe Biden? Put it in the chat box. I'd like to see who you would have thought would have done a great job. I was actually thinking about, and I'm not saying I would have voted for any of these folks or whatever, but I think the debate would have been, man, they would have, I thought Buttigieg would have done a great job against Trump. I thought Elizabeth Warren would have done a great job. I thought Andrew Yang would have done a great job. Maybe Cory Booker. But I could see that. I don't know what you guys think about that. But I thought it'd been a very interesting conversation. And Biden, he picked it up towards the end, and he did all right, folks. Let's see here. Other issues. How you guys feeling about this crazy thing tonight? Oh, let me say one other thing. Trump talked about how the shutting down the economy is worse than people being sick and dying, right? That the cure can't be worse than disease. He says this all the time. It's interesting because I just got done grading my students in a debate today. And one of the things I grade them on 3 criteria: preparation, participation, and substance. Were they prepared? Did they participate? And were their arguments logical? And when I grade them on their preparation, I grade them whether they use facts. Trump literally starts talking in the debate and goes, oh yeah, people are dying from alcohol, people are dying from depression, under this. Dude, give me some facts, man. If you were in my class, I would have failed you. Because you didn't give me any facts to make your case, to make your argument. Give me some data, and then maybe I go, well, shoot, man, people are really dying because of the fact that they're not engaged in the job market. But once again, ladies and gentlemen, we have to strike a balance, right, between public health and the solid economy. What good is a solid economy if people are dying? And what good is a solid economy if you're fueling a civil war? All right, here we go. Trevor Noah. Oh, Trevor Noah been good. Maybe Trevor Noah would be good. It's kind of fun to see a comedian do that. Yeah, I think you're right. It kind of would have been fun to see a comedian. Let's see. Kamala Harris would have done a good job. Oh yeah, Bernie actually could have. Yeah, Bernie would have been fun to watch. But let's see. We have seen historically that left unregulated, corporations will not act in the best interest of the consumer or the environment. Cliff, come on over, bro. Come on over, Cliff. Come on over. Because conservatives would argue against that, and it's so obvious that corporations need to be regulated. They need to be taxed. They need to be regulated. They can be free to make money, but they will not act in the best interest, to your point. Let's see. Both parties are corrupt. Why not break away from it? And free market does not work. Look at the health system in Singapore. Free market does work. Look at the health system in Singapore. Free market does work because dead customers don't buy goods or oh, come on, David. So it would be best interest if our company did not kill us. That's not true, bro. That is not true. They do not have an incentive not to kill you, because if they do kill you, right, you're basically saying that you're going to trust them to do right. Okay, let's say they don't kill you, let's say they poison you, and now you're sick. Maybe you might buy another one of their products, bro. Come on, man. You can't use death as the argument for why they might want to do right by you. Come on, man. That does not work. You have to regulate them. The man doesn't care about breathing or clean air as long as they're paying workers well. Very good point. Joe Biden said, we talked about the green economy, right? And we talked about how, Joe Biden was like, hey, clean air is actually good for the economy. I could agree with that as well. 12 days ago, when we know who won, we will not know in 12 days. Get ready for it. Remember 2000, folks? Those of you guys old enough remember 2000? We did not know for weeks. We're going to have the same kind of situation. Talk out the side of your neck. I love it. He is the epitome of that. I mean, who gets up at a presidential debate and just starts, just winging it? You know what I mean? That's kind of what I see. How much of Trump's businesses benefited from the economy being open sooner? Good point. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Probably would have benefited, Yeah, probably would have. So we wait for people to die before we regulate the market and make a better choice, right? If they make me sick, I don't buy their products too easy. David, it's a stretch, man. It's a stretch, bro. You're my buddy. Come on. So you think the way to deal with this is go, oh, well, you're going to make me sick, so now I'm not going to buy your product, so that's going to be the regulation. Nah, man. Nah. Once again, if I'm in this market, right, and I go, oh, I've made him sick because of this, guess what? I'm going to sell him something else that's going to help him not be sick. That's what's going to happen. So the idea that they're going to regulate themselves because people are dying is not going to work. Biden could have done better with the Clean Air Act. Yeah, Biden could have done better on a lot of stuff tonight. Could have done better on a lot of stuff in his career. Once again, I'm never saying that Joe Biden was the best candidate in the world. I mean, Trump is right in the sense that Biden's been in office for 40 years and could probably have more legislative accomplishments as a result. I hate to say this is not for me about Biden. This is about what I see. This is about making America great again for me. And that phrase literally angers and terrifies me all at the same time. You lost me at that phrase, bro. There's nothing else to talk about. Because what I have seen in policy and in principle, and I have an article, guys, that I just wrote for the Bronzeville Life and also for the Southland Journal on this question. I think I'll just check my page. I got an article I just wrote about the Trump administration. It's called The Election of Our Lifetime. And yeah, it's like 2 posts ago on my page or whatever. So check it out. But what I see, guys, is that this is a decision between going forward and going backwards in this country. Why not prevent people from getting sick in the first place? Okay. If you were debating Trump, would you have remained composed? Oh, and happy no one said Kanye. Yes, I would not have remained composed. Just like Joe Biden didn't remain composed in the first one. I don't think I could have. I'm just being honest with you. When he told him, like, shut up, man, I probably would have dropped a few of those, if hopefully not worse. I am a Christian, so hopefully I wouldn't have, I might have lost it for a second, though. I don't know. Hopefully I wouldn't, though. Yeah, man, maybe I will. I'd love to. Maybe I should set up a fake video debate with Trump. Like, I throw the video up, and then I'll just put some video, and I'll kind of go back and forth, right? True, we are just trying to at least live, and that's pretty messed up, and that's our general goal. It is, guys. So here's what I want to tell you guys. I mean, I'm looking forward to this election. I love democracy. But either way, guys, we're going to have to be hopeful when this is all over. We're going to have to be hopeful when this is all over, unfortunately, whatever happens. I don't know. They're saying polling obviously is showing Biden is in a lead in many of the swing states. He's able to get sort of these white, blue-collar voters that Hillary wasn't able to get for whatever reason. Perceived scandal and or sexism, I probably would say, or both. But we don't know for sure. We do not know what's going to happen for sure. Did you guys hear Trump say, I ran because of you tonight? I thought that was a kind of cool comment. I ran because of you. I was like, come on. It was cool to see Trump try to stay composed, though. I don't know if you guys saw it. He was like, he wants to cut him off, and it was fun to see him try to be a kind person. Raheem, yes, Raheem, that is an inside joke, bro. Raheem, I would not have cursed Trump out, but unfortunately, the people who've known us the longest, like Raheem, hey Jen, hey Raheem, they know our weaknesses, and so I, years ago at my wedding, this is 15 years ago now, I got very upset with my brother. Raheem wants to bring up my dirt. Jesus has forgiven me, Raheem, but you want to bring it up. I got really mad at my brother. I was trying not to. I try not to curse. I don't curse, right? I'm a Christian, right? So I spelled out the curse words. What to say to him? This was stupid, and so it made literally him and everyone else just fall out laughing. It was really dumb. So Raheem was bringing that up. So maybe I could have spelled it out to Trump, I guess, but whatever. Everyone needs to vote. You can't regulate human wants and needs. The market always regulates itself when you have a third-party government business. Obviously, just buy off the government. Look at the EPA, DEA, and FDA. Yes, I get the point. But if the FDA was really bought off completely, bro, we would really be suffering heavily. Now, don't get me wrong. I do believe that the FDA has not regulated some of these companies in the way they should in terms of food. But I just don't think it's unfortunately that simple. But I do think you're right about that. I just think that you need the government to mitigate. Yeah, he was trying to be an adult tonight, Letitia. He did. He was trying to be a grown-up, Janine. Yes, he did. Okay, and 16 million voters. Thank you for this, Glenn. 16.7 million voters removed from the voter rolls in the past 2 years. So I just did a video. I'm going to drop it tomorrow. Actually, I worked with the guy, my cousin DeMarco Chandler. We actually shot this at a studio, and it's on the Voting Rights Act. It's about a 2-minute video. It's kind of, fancy with music and stuff like that. And but I want to talk about this because voter suppression is a big issue. Voter suppression and the engagement of foreign countries in our election, guys. You guys heard about Iran and also Russia. And so these are big issues. I think you got to pay attention to this. We've got use it or lose it laws in Ohio and knock people off the rolls. You got name match laws in Georgia where they knock people off the rolls. We've got to pay attention. Blessedly, I live in a blue state, and so they're not going to be knocking people off the rolls. And by the way, I live in a blue state, blessedly, in this election. I'm not, once again, saying the Democrats are everything. I just think, come on, you're looking at what we're dealing with. I hate to say this, but I was kind of more independent before Trump. And I feel like Trump has pushed me all the way to the left. because I'm like, it's either this or that. Yeah, got to go over here. Sorry about that. And it just is what it is. So, Raheem, stop bringing up the past, bro. Yes, someone asked me. Long story. Anyway, my friend, after I spelled this curse word out to my brother, he goes, "Oh yeah, you think God can't spell?" So yeah, of course God can spell, and he knew what I was saying. So whatever. Okay. Yes, he did. But Catherine, we talked about that already. Trump did more for black people than any other president since Lincoln. And he said possibly, like he did more than Abraham Lincoln. Yes, he did possibly. I mean, guys, that is so dang on laughable. But you got to pay attention to voter suppression. It's so important. It is what's happening historically. It's what's happened today. Please check out tomorrow on my social media page. You'll see this video. Hopefully, it'll be good information. You can share it, whatever. I think it'll be really good to see kind of what the deal is with that, right? And how, guys, how we're dealing with this today. 6 million people cannot vote in this country because of felonies. What happened, I was so excited to see what happened in Florida. I don't know if you guys heard about this. 700,000 people who had felonies were able to vote. The governor, the state allowed them to do that. And then, of course, then they went back and tried to put all of these fines on there, saying essentially that you can't vote unless you pay your fines. And Bloomberg and John Legend, these folks came down. They raised about $20 million. They paid all these people's fines so that they could vote. I thought it was so cool. And it's something, they're doing that for Joe Biden. And then, like, it's in court now because they're trying to say, you're buying their votes. No, they're taking away barriers to vote. Why are we the only democracy in the Western world, folks, the industrialized world, blah, 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 that fights to keep people from voting? It makes no sense whatsoever. If you're fighting to keep people from voting, you're on the wrong side of history. It's just that simple. And unfortunately, guys, in this country, there's one party that's been fighting to keep people from voting. And I voted for Republicans in the past. I have. It could not be more clear right now, though. This is a choice between really life and death. And once again, if our president is reelected, we got to go on. We got to live our lives and do everything else and blah, blah, blah. I ain't going to be happy about it. But somehow or another, we got to survive this together. We've survived the last 4 years. We got to keep going. And if Joe Biden gets in office and he doesn't do anything, we got to survive that too, because that's very possible also, folks. And then like Joe Biden is going to roll in and we played that game with Obama. And yes, Obama did some good things, but a lot of folks who care about issues like people, the marginalized and that sort of thing, Obama did make some progress in certain areas, but there were a lot of things that didn't happen as well. Okay. Hey, Yesenia, what's up? What's up? We got Yesenia on here. And Glenn, yes. Okay, cool. Can you vote if you're a convicted felon? It's a state-by-state issue, Kiara. It is a state-by-state issue. So in Illinois, you can. In many other states, you cannot. In Florida, you could not. And now you can, as of 2018. But they put the fines. They made people pay the fines, and obviously they were paid off. Yeah, we don't know what's going to go down with Biden either. We do not. We will be doomed. So anyway. I think he just said it to mock what Trump said. Maybe he did. I don't know. Anyway, guys, love y'all. Great talking to y'all tonight. Hope y'all have a good time. Let's stay together. I'm going to be doing election coverage on WCIU on election night. So that's a local TV station here in Chicago. I'll probably try to go live with it so we can check out and, you guys want to connect. We'll drop some of these videos here. And I just really think that our democracy matters, guys. And I'm very blessed to be in a role where not only doing this, but teaching at schools and teaching at different organizations and churches and, doing writing and stuff like that. Get to just kind of help us to think through some of these issues. And I appreciate you guys hanging out with me tonight and just kind of having a little therapy session or whatever. So God bless you guys. Don't know when I'll be back, but I will soon, I'm sure. We'll keep on going and we'll get through this. So I can't take any more Agent Orange. Thank you, guys. God bless you. Love you all. Mike, I got to leave you, bro. Call me tomorrow, man. Okay. Take care, you guys. Bye-bye.